All right. So welcome everyone. Welcome back to this Be Agile Scrum track on the other day of business analysis session, which is ongoing, and we are heading gradually towards the end of the complete track. So before we begin, let me start with our reminder. The reminder is nothing but code of honor. We every single day, whenever we meet, we need to remind each other. So this is not only for you or anyone specific. This is for all of us, including me. That there are few code of honor where I recommend for myself as well to practice it daily. So let me open it as reminder. I hope you would be able to see the screen. So it has loaded now. So are you able to see the screen? Uh,
Yes.
the
Yes.
the code of honor.
Yes.
Yeah. The code of honor screen is available to you. So the very first one, so why code of honor? Because code of honor, as we all know, that it is towards protecting our goal, so that we remain focused and continue to graduate towards the completion. So the very first one is showing up live. Why we do so? Because we practice to be on time, we remain punctual and highly committed. Why we require to again practice these all elements? Because it is said that as per universal law, how you do anything is how you do everything. If any one of you have not been practiced to be in corporate of America or anywhere in IT in USA, and this is something which you happen to come across every single day when it is turning towards a meeting or something. So we are practicing this over here so that we remain habituated, and it is for easy for us to be the part of it. So that's why it's at number one. Second one is being a full stack student. As you know that in uh, okay, so let me once again see if I have started the recording. Yes, I have done. So yes, the second one is being full stack student, because this is a journey towards placement, and how we are starting this by understanding and practicing the 6 pillars of Guru School. And the very first one says that instructor led free training. And this when it is instructor led free training, then you are learning, and when you are learning, you become the student. So you don't have to just be a student, but remain a full stack student by practicing and doing all the assignment, doing your self research, as well as repeating whatever you have learned. And the third one is taking the full responsibility. If you are doing this all what have been suggested and asked and requested, you will be heading towards the success, and definitely you can take a responsibility for this. And when you are not following these all, definitely you won't find yourself heading towards the success. If not success, then what? It is going to be failure. And you need to take the responsibility of failure, that failure as well. Why you need to take that responsibility of failure if you are not heading towards the success? Because when you will take the responsibility of failure as well, then only there are chances that you can correct it, you can rework it, and then you can take a plunge toward the success. And in that case, this failure becomes just not failure, it becomes the trail to the success. And that's the reason you need to taking the full responsibility of both the side, whether it happens in favor or not in favor. Why? That you will be able to introspect when you follow this third as a code of honor for your goal. The fourth one is how you do that, by having a complete set of mindset. And this complete package of mindset is starts with uh, uh, start with truly positivity. When you remain positive, you will continue to learn, and that develops the learning mindset. And by being positivity, continue to learning, then you can continue to learn to be go complaint free. And the more complaint free you will be, there are chances you will be able to put gratitude and develop a gratitude mindset towards that. And for what you will experience more gratitude, that expands in your life. So that's the reason. The fourth one is very, very important. And the fifth one is increasing receptivity to follow this kind of mindset. And how you do that? So for that, I have shared this one audio track with you. In case you have not received that yet, then you can ask me directly after the session. You can DM me and I'll share you the link so that you can listen to the strangest secret every single day. It has a deeper impact on the way you deliver your work in your daily activity, be it in any sector you are working today or not working. Even some of you who are listening to this in recording as a homemaker, even if you listen to this stranger secret, you will see the quality of work be changing through your delivery of your daily work. And that's why it is very, very important to listen to it at least one. And second is very important, that is golden quadrant of learning, because you have started this session, started these class with by being a full stack student. And if you are a student, you are learning something, you must remain to remember that practicing golden quadrant of learning will help you to retain whatever you have learned for a longer period of time. So how do you do that? You do it by practicing declaration, then getting into learning, and then drawing whatever you have learned, and then summarizing it. All right. So declaration starts with anchoring, and anchoring, let not your ship, that is your mind or brain, drown into the ocean of thoughts, and it remain focused, standing tall there in that ocean. And that's why anchor we are putting over here before declaration. The anchor is nothing but the self clap, and the self clap is your self high five. And at the count of three, so you are going to clap and repeat after me whatever is selected over here. So can you see the screen, and are you ready for this declaration today, everyone?
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. So at the count
Yes.
of three, let's start. 1, 2, 3 and go. I am a quick learner.
I am a
I'm
quick
a quick
learner.
learner.
What others can learn and master,
What
What
others
others
can learn
can
and
learn and
master,
master,
I too can do that.
I
I
too
too
can
can
do
do
that.
that.
And once again, an anchor with me. 1, 2, 3 and go. Because I am an awesome learner,
Because I
Because
am an
I am an
awesome
awesome
learner,
learner,
today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me.
today's
today's
learning
learning
is
is going
going
to
to
be
be
super
super
duper
duper
easy
easy
to
to
me.
me.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for repeating, anchoring, and doing. Yes, it is going to be super duper easy because you said so. And remain, while this all are happening, remember to be a giver, especially when you are learning. What is the biggest obstacle is the ego on this path of learning. Keep it aside. That will give a bigger room for you to learn and retain and digest, and thereby guide from there. So these all also help you to remain spiritually grounded, and that is nothing but is the continuous continuity towards your growth, towards your personal growth. While this has happened and this is happening, the core goal was to get place so that you can start earning. In case you are not earning, then you must have this intent of doing the charity after you start earning. But in case you are even making a single penny today, then you must and must start following to do the charity based on the wages, whether you are taking it weekly or monthly, however it is, based on your salary. Commit to uh, do charity at least once you get placed, at least 5% or 10% of your earning. Why? Because what you give, that let you grow, but when you receive, that time you may survive. But I don't recommend you to just with the intent to grow, you get into this charity mode. Charity could be, donating to any mosque, temple, church, anywhere wherever you believe in, or just feeding to hungry child, or donating some amount to some causes. These all are nothing but a charity. It's a give away giving back to the society, but don't just give away, give back to the society or do charity with the intent to grow, but also to inspire. And when you do all these things, remember to appreciate what you are doing or what others are doing for you. And even if nothing happens in your favor, remember every single step is a journey towards the next bigger step. So why you need to appreciate, because what you appreciate appreciates you back. So on this note, let's move further towards our continued learning. But before we get into that, let me ask you this thing. So do you remember last time, what did you learn? What were you learning? Who can quickly share me?
Visual thinking, WBS.
Wow, spot on, Sneha. Thank you so much for sharing this. And exactly this was what the point where we had left, I guess, after WBS and visual thinking. Let me go back over there and welcome you back again. Yes, towards the visual thinking it was. And now we will be getting into documents, templates, and understanding. I'm sure Sneha and Radha, this was the point. You must be aware of it, but still, this could be repetition for you. So today we are sharing a few documents, which as a business analyst, you must know. Okay. So what you see on the screen are few example of the documents as a business analyst you would come across. So the very first one is what you see on the screen is project vision document. So this document is not exactly necessary, but should be a known reason and should be a known reason product owner may ask you for the help. So product vision document is something which you receive a project as a goal, as a vision, or in terms of epic. And before just epic, it could be statement of work. And during that period, a product owner needs to prepare this project vision document. And generally he is the responsible, but he may ask you to get your assistance in creating this project vision document. Okay, so you need to just plan it well. We are getting into detail of every single document what is mentioned over here, that I'm going to tell over here in coming slides. Okay, so another one is requirement management plan. We will be learning into detail what it is, how it will be prepared. User stories and use cases. So also we will learn what all are the key ingredients of these documents and what should be. Okay, then business requirement document. Then you should be aware of requirement traceability matrix. And although this document is not necessary for you to create, or you should not have the knowledge of RTM or requirement traceability matrix for the sake of creation, but this is the document sometime you need to review. Okay, and this is a document which aligns the all the requirement details, ID, and parameter with the identified test cases. Okay, so it is simply matchmaking exercise against every scenario or test cases with the requirement details or requirement identification. Okay, so that's the reason you should be knowing about requirement traceability matrix. Another one is functional requirement specification, or call it function specification document. This is either FRS or FSD as an abbreviation. And another one is system requirement specification, that is SRS, or system requirement document, that is SRD. So these are the documents which you need to prepare. So, and then test cases. So test case, you must know that how it is prepared, but you should not be preparing this. This is something document, it is being prepared by tester. So just for understanding and for knowledge, these documents you should be knowing that what are their templates, what is the understanding behind it. But only are these documents? No, there are many more such documents. So again, what all are important that you are going to learn today. Okay. So and apart from these important documents, there are many more, and that time you may explore during your self research. But these are the key documents which you should know. Okay. Again, in your journey of business analyst or scrum master, not necessary that all these documents you will come across in your immediate coming career. All right. So let's start with project vision document. But before I move further, I would like invite Prerna to you to speak up if you want to add something. Otherwise, if you want, I can continue. Prerna.
Yes, Gaurav, very well given a brief explanation about the earlier documents. And I just want to highlight one important thing when it comes to documents. First of all, the documentations that happen in every organization is customized as per their needs, as per their pattern. So here, whatever we are learning is a very standard way. uh, Organization to organization, there can be some minute changes. Okay, I am saying minute because there can be some additional element, there can be some removal of, like, for example, FRD has lot of things like title and approval hierarchy, contents, diagrams, and in some places they might not have diagrams. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. So the bottom line is for all of you, you just have to learn how a document looks or what its contents are. And when you go to an actual organization, there can be some minor changes and updates. So don't get startled by that. That's absolutely fine. And that depends on every organization. So here we are teaching you the standard way, and once you learn that, you are good to go. So I think, Gaurav, that is it from my side. You can start and then I can pitch in between.
Sure. Thank you so much, Prerna. So yes, project vision document is the document you are going to learn, which I said that not you need not to create this one. So what may happen then? Why you should know? You should know because this is the responsibility of product owner. And tomorrow, if you become product owner, so you should be well versed with this document. Now understand, even the key elements or key ingredients or key pointers that are here in this document are about introduction of the project. So that will be the ingredient of this particular document as a first. Then description of users in the system, what all the users will be using this project or this ready application or software or a project. And then who all are the stakeholders involved in this. Then the overview of the project, what all are the features of this product. And then product requirement, what all are things are open, closed, and assumed requirement of this project. And that defines your scope as well further. And then limitation constraint that you need to again remember to drop in. Why? Because again, that enhances your scope as well. That gives you a complete core understanding towards the scope, what you should consider, what you should not consider, and what you are excluding, the reason behind it. And if you are excluding, do you have any assumption based on that? Everything will also comprise of constraint. And not only that, but also does this software itself has some constraint, whether some development constraint it has, whether it has got some testing constraint. Everything what you can think of, assume, or even imagine, that you can put into this pointer. And then you will also mention about the quality documentation requirement. So quality requirement could be your set of test cases which you have, your team or your testers have approved it, or they have just signed it off. So based on that, the application is ready to move to live mode. And when I'm talking about it, live mode, what does it mean? It means that all checkpoints are checked, all the open defects are closed, all the test cases are executed, and everything quality is checked. What and the document which requires to be prepared for this quality check, sometimes it is also called as quality gate document. That is a gateway which helps this project to push to the next environment. Okay, that is from the testing environment or development environment, or design at local environment, towards to the next level, to next level, to next level, so that it can remain on the live environment. Okay, so that is all about project vision document. But remember, when I'm talking about it, so always your focus should be the key pointers. Okay, these all will be the part of this. But when it comes to project vision document, or any document for that matter of the fact, then you must know that there is a no hard and fast guideline that your document should look like this only. Okay, so every single company or every single organization, they follow their own template. Okay, and because they follow their own template, there is no hard and fast format of these kind of document. And that's the reason we recommend you to, even you can google it out, and you can just download any simple dummy template. You can follow that, and you can work on that, and you can enhance it further. The more you will practice, the more you will start thinking of any dummy project in your mind. And when you will start working on that, you will prepare small PVDs, that is project vision document. Then you will start thinking as if you have experience in it. When you have experience in it, you can definitely think that you have been a part of any project where you have been implementing these kind of a document every single day. Now let me tell you, this is using this example of PVD, project vision document, that how you will make any such document preparation part of your experience. First, you need to be well versed with it. That is number one. Number two, consider any example, any project as an example. Okay, you then design it. Then if you remember that recently we had created one curated even one session that was on visualization as a BA or Scrum Master in a project. So that one you can pick it up, continue to get into visualization mode, and remember to see that how you have been or how you have practiced creation of any such documentation or similar documentation. Now repeat it at least 21 times. So being in the alpha, I mean the whatever the mode I have taken you during that video. So when you will repeat at least for 21 times, being in that state in which you will be while listening to the audio or that session, what will happen with the brain will start accepting this as a reality. Then when you will be the part of even for interview, then your brain will convince, or even your body will be convinced by your brain that this is something incident which has happened in reality. Because there is a subconscious mind that doesn't differentiate between reality or imaginary stuff. When you repeat it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, it is completely convinced. And because of this trait of your subconscious mind, sometimes it happens to you that you feel like at some point of time you have been to some such places or some activity by you has been already done in the past, or something like that happen. And to repeat or to gain this kind of test, even with these kind of project vision document creation, formation of different document, when your body needs to be convinced or mind needs to be convinced, it has to be practiced in that state in which I have taken you in the past through using that particular record. What I'm going to do is that quickly I'm going to paste the link of this that is available on the Guru Schools channel. You can pick this up and go ahead, and if you have missed this, you can listen to this record. Okay, so that is one. So this is with the help of project vision document. When you have included not only this one but any of the document, and you are talking in the interview, then your body mind should be totally convinced that you have created it, you have worked upon it, and that's the reason you are answering it. So this could be a potential question if you have recently prepared your resume, that okay, I have not worked on this area, I have not worked in this project, I have not worked in this, but still how to tell about this project. So for this, you must practice this. Okay, the link I have shared with you. So on this note, let's move to the next document. What is it? So requirement management plan. Okay, so this is another document which as a business analyst you should know, but this is again when I'm talking, these are the key ingredients or key pointers. That is purpose of plan, responsibility assignment, responsibility assignment, tools and procedures to be used that you are going to mention, approach to define any requirement, approach towards requirement traceability. I have talked, that is the requirement traceability, where you will trace the requirement in detail, even by identifying and by knowing its features, its functionality, and with what requirement identification number it is associated with. Then workflows and activities, and knowing the change management that you are also including in this requirement management plan. Again, remember this thing, that there is no hard and fast template. You can go ahead, you can download this. Okay, download this from the Google, and you can start utilizing anything, start utilizing any complete format. So any question towards these two, project vision document and requirement management plan? If not, we will continue to the next document. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming, Prajakta, on behalf of everyone. So let's move. So yes, so Prerna, would you like to take the next one, the use case, and it's all key elements? I think you are talking on mute if you are talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gaurav, can you please go ahead with
Yeah,
this?
sure, no problem. So understand use case. So now first, use case used to be a document initially, a dedicated document. Later we also included use cases in various documents, like in in some of the document you will find that use case inclusion. But understand, alone for the use case, what could be the ingredient, or what could be the key elements. So when you are designing a use case, remember this use case or scenario will be performed by whom, and when this you need to take care. So by whom means it defines the actors of actors available during that scenario. Okay, so that will be the one key element of use case. Then you will describe this use case, including the trigger point, when exactly the scenario will be appearing, when that scenario will be triggered. So when the moment you will define the trigger, so you must be aware the precondition of it. Precondition means to reach, to land on that particular step of functionality, what should have been already done. Okay, so for example, say for example, you are into flight reservation system module. Okay, so in flight reservation system module, what exactly is going to happen? So one scenario we are going to show you that business class and economy class, uh, both the comparison between business and economy class uh, should be shown just before going to the payment page in a reservation, uh, a reservation finalization system of any airfare ticket booking. So when this thing will be happening, where you will be able to see a comparison between business class and economy class. So for to reach over there, the precondition should be the customer should be, or anyone, the user should be logged into this airfare airlines airfare ticket system, uh, and he should have clicked on already book a ticket or book a seat, so that the comparison window or comparison UI or comparison dialog box between economy and business class should be appeared. So you have just defined over here in this use case when it will trigger. So it once he will click on the book now button, and you use case you have not yet defined when I was speaking. So use case, when you will define start, mid, and end, the complete picture of this use case. Uh, you could have also defined when you are talking about user, who all user could be involved in this. It could be anyone, even a single passenger. It could be the airline staff. It could be anyone, whoever are the user of this particular application. So while you have described this, you are aware of precondition, trigger, description, and actor involved. Then the very first thing will happen in what normal scenario this use case will happen. So again, whenever you will click on the book now button, this is by default is going to come. And in case it is going to get triggered in any of the scenario, so the normal flow you will tell. So say for example, this normal flow is only to show the comparison. Then use this use case will be dedicated to the comparison between economy class versus business class. Okay, so this use case is dedicated to that. Then is there any alternative flow to reach to that screen that is showing us the comparison? Yeah, that could be various thing, that when you cancel the next window, that will land back to the comparison. Say for example, when it is showing uh, business class versus economy class, in case you need to book the business class ticket, but still by mistake you might have clicked on the economy class, and it is giving you the details on the available seats of the economy class. When you will click on the cancel button, again you will land back on the business versus economy class comparison window, and from there you can pick even the business class. So when you can land back onto that, so that could be the another alternative flow. There could be the n number of alternative flow. Okay, not necessary that whatever I have just now shared, only that would be the one, but in a quick sharing session, this could be the one. Another one is the exception. So in when any exception occurs, so how this use case be handled, or how this use case will be involved, or anything else you need to take care of about it in this. So that is that will be considered under exception. Then any another special requirement could be that this particular use case requires this kind of a system requirement. System has to be the this and this. The software requirement, this. The user requirement, user should have these authority to only to land onto this page, and various other conditions if you are available, that is going to happen. There could be assumption is that by clicking on back button, uh, by clicking on back button, the user will land back on the previous page. Okay, and the back button is always should be under the application. It should be available in the user interface. In case other assumption, in case user click the back button of the browser, not of the application, he is going to log out. So this could be the assumption that you could have get it confirmed through your client. Okay, because it is assumption, because it was not documented by your client or it has not been agreed upon, you can get a confirmation from the client, and you can still make it as a part of assumption and get it approved. Okay, then any notes and issue. So issue could be like always customer needs to click on the cross button, that is the icon of the close, twice when the comparison overlay appears while booking a flight ticket. Okay, so I just quickly gave this example. So it has been not yet fixed, this issue that will be fixed in the past. Okay, so these kind of details will undergo in the use case. Again, for the use case, take a application, consider any application that this came randomly in front of me about the flight booking system. There could be the n number of such system. It could be uh, uh, it could be client or patients booking system for doctor appointments. So patients appointment booking system, so that could be another application. You can relate it in whatever the industry you are working in. If you are in hospitality industry, it could be to booking a room, confirming a room in any for any staycation or something like that. So that's how you can define it. You can you can start thinking of any application which you think that you would be using in your daily life or in any project. It could be related to banking, it could be related to insurance, it could be related to mobile banking, or however it is. It could be related to telecom or in any industry. All right. So clarity till here, use cases, project vision document, and requirement management plan. Any question till here? Again, as I said, so there is no hard and fast format. It varies company to company, and definitely you can once you get placed, so you can ask first question once you get placed, that do we have any certain format we follow, or we can create by our own. So once they say that you can create by your own, definitely you can go ahead and create by your own, or you can simply start utilizing any template which you have downloaded from Google. That could be the one. Few organizations recommend that this should also include the logo of the company where you are in working in, and also the logo of the client. So depending upon the template which have been already formatted, if not, you can definitely use it from Google, download it and go ahead. And in during the end of this session today, I want you to practice these kind of document preparation live. So um, at least how you can do so, at least with BRD, FRD, or FRS, or FSD, you can practice. Definitely you can look at people around you, that is on the screen, and start thinking with whom you want to, not with whom, how you can together come and take it as a project and start creating
Yeah.
one document
Very,
as.
very, very nicely explained, Gaurav. I just wanted to pitch in here, especially with the requirement management plan document per se. As Gaurav rightly mentioned, that many of the organizations at times do not have any particular template. So they might ask you to go ahead with, your template or whatever understanding you have. But many a times they do have. So what we have to do, if they do have that template, you can go ahead with that particular format and then data involved and all that. If they don't have, then yes, the kind of details we have provided to you and the kind of documents you will be making now, they can act as a reference. That's why I just pitched in, because as Gaurav is mentioning that you will all have to, as a team, contributing to each document, you'll have to prepare one. So please take advantage of this opportunity, because once you create the documents here, it will be very easy for you to make the similar documents in organizations, right, Gaurav? So
Yes, sure.
just, yeah, and now I think we are here around 9 people, so we can have, Gaurav, what do you feel if we have a group of three or something like that, so we can have three different documents, how that will work? Because
Yeah,
generally we
so
have,
three
yeah,
will work, I guess.
yes,
So we will talk about this towards the end when we
right,
will
right.
come. So we will ask you to prepare, but definitely you can think of the people and see the real fun is when you don't know people and you have not interacted with them altogether, because this is what you are going to experience once you get placed. Initially, you won't be knowing the person with whom you are going to interact, right? So that time, how when you become the part of a new team, you get comfortable and then you become contributor as well. So this is what we want you to experience as well. So accordingly, think of the people. Otherwise, anyways, we are going to assign you with whom you are going to work. So that is going to be at the end of today's session. But yeah, before we talk about it more in detail and finalize this, let's move to the next slide. Okay. So the next slide is about this one. This is user story. Okay. So user story, which comes
Gaurav,
with,
you want me to take this, because you have been
yeah, yeah,
talking? We can have
yeah,
some
you
more time.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Thank you. So, user story, we have come across in Scrum also. And user story, as the name suggests, it's basically a story kind of provided from the user side, and it will act like a in detailed requirement to be worked upon, right? So there are some nice things which are like, what they mean is what they say. So user story means it's basically a story or explanation of the requirement, what you're supposed to work on. So there is some highlights or some WH questions that you should be asking, which will help you. So that is who, what, and why. Okay. So when I say who, means who is the user of the system, who wants to use this functionality, who wants to work on this. So that therein my who function comes in, right? So basically, who is my user? Okay, my user are technically very sound, they are very techno savvy, so they would have some different kind of expectation from the system. Okay, if my users are very layman or very new people, or they are not so well with advanced technology, then they can, then your user interface, or then your system can be made in such a manner that it can be easy to use for such kind of people. Or if your if your users are internal or external, or even in case of Facebook, entire world will use it, or in case of some applications, internal applications, only that organization employees will use it. So this kind of question, where you get answered for who, gives you a clarity on who will use the system, and accordingly you can system, when I say system, that means application, web application, or any product. Okay, so don't get confused by that. So who is a very important question, who is going to be the end user or user of the system. Okay, any doubt on this? Anything you can ask? The silence is generally considered as no, guys. So yes, no, okay.
Yes, yes.
Understood.
All good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So see, this is quite easy, but if you understand it well, you're good to go, right? So you will not have any questions or doubts going ahead. Okay. So we just answered who in a user story, or who is the action taking person or department in a particular requirement. That is also who. That's what I just explained. What and why. Okay. So if I, for example, if I take an example, easy example of HRMS system, that is human resource management system, all the systems that are, or applications that are used by HRs. So if we say, okay, HR, what HR team wants? So HR team wants an application where they should be able to, have the details of attendance, and they should see their overall project tagging also. Okay. So this is what, okay, what they should be able to see, or what functionality they want. Now coming to the answer, coming to the question why. Okay. So why means, first of all, they want to know their project tagging, so they would know this particular employee is working or is on bench. Second, they want to know their attendance, to know that are there any loss of pay days, or are there any any attendance issues, or if he is coming to the office, or he's working from home and logging in on time. So you understand, whatever functionality that is being provided, that is what. Okay. Who is for whom, what is that, what kind of applications you're developing, and why is the reason. Tomorrow you're working on any research or scientific application, so your who will be the scientist team from whom you are catering. What would be maybe some calculations, automation that you're providing, some lengthy and complex calculations application your team is working on. And why means, okay, that can be used for any rocket launching process, it can be used for any medicine, it can be used for any testing purpose, right? So these are really three important questions that you should be asking yourself if you're asked to prepare a user story, or if you're given a user story and you plainly read it. You should know who is involved, what is expected, and why is to be done. Okay. So as a who, I should be able to do what, so that why. That simply means uh, who wants to do what they want us to develop or work or create, and why means the reason. Okay. So for HRMS, HR needs an application. Okay. For any billing system, they needs to create invoicing. For any other different systems, their motive can be different. But as a BA, if you know this overall information, these three things in details, you are good to go. Fine. We are kind of done with user story, because this is what is the crisp of user story. There can be many sentences and details, but if you know these three things, these are like the hit on the head things, most important, you will understand the entire concept or entire requirement in one go. Goro, you want to add something here?
Yeah. So now here the user story, what you have seen that it is mentioned in one line that as a who, this is the format you should be remembering, okay, while creating a user story. When um uh you are breaking down a requirement in a user story, because that is the one thing which you need to practice, that you need to break down a requirement to a user story. So you need to write that in this manner, because ultimately this user story will be read by developers and testers and other team members in the Scrum team, who are going to work upon it, and based on that they are going to design it, code it, or test it. Okay. So for example, generally I keep on giving this example that even though you are a customer, okay, so you can walk into the bank to withdraw your own amount. That is number one. But before that, you want to check whether you have sufficient balance or not. So who can check this balance thing? So either you can check the balance by your own, or walking to any kiosk or any terminal where you can check by your own. That's number one scenario. Number two, your tailor can also check, that is sitting in a bank counter, uh, or in case you happen to walk in directly towards the branch manager, you can definitely ask the person as a branch manager, so he can check on your behalf and can tell you. So who all are there? You as a customer, a branch manager as a as a person, or your tailor could be, okay, it could be tailor. Sometime if cashier is sitting as is, there is no more person, so again it depends upon that whether he accepts your request or not. But sometime he is able to see your detail as well, because ultimately if he is giving you from the same counter the details, or even money for the matter of the fact. So how this balance check system can be done. So so understand. So now three, you are going to check a balance check. So the user story name is balance check. Okay. So who all can check? You and tailor and cashier and a branch manager. So how you are going to write it? So there will be a four user story in that case. One is with you. So as a customer, I should be able to check the balance so that I can decide to withdraw the money. Okay. So the outcome is what? Decision. You want to decide to withdraw. Okay. That is one. Second, as a branch manager, I should be able to check the balance of the customer so that I can suggest on the decision of withdrawing the amount. Okay, the certain amount. That is the second scenario. Certain user story. Third, as a tailor, I should be able to check the balance of the customer so that can confirm the customer on the withdrawing the amount he is willing to, okay, or she is willing to. So that happened with the branch manager. As a branch manager, I should be able to check the balance of the customer so that I can suggest her on the withdrawing decision. As a cashier, I should be able to check the balance of the customer so that I can suggest her on the decision of withdrawing of the certain amount. Okay, so even that is clear. So as a customer, it is clear. As a branch manager, it is clear. As a cashier, it is clear. As a tailor, I should be able to check the balance of my customer so that can suggest her to withdraw the certain amount, okay, at her will. So again, one single thing, check balance was the key and was done by all these four actors. So here it is clear, as a actor, I should be doing what and achieving why. Okay, so this should be clear, and there if you understand this format using it, you can definitely create any user story into the system. So if no question over here, we can move to the next one. So BRD, I'm not sure whether we have explained, but it shows that explained earlier. But quickly, I'll tell you. So
I
what?
have I
Okay.
have a question, sir.
Yes, yes, Shada. Go ahead.
So it seems to be like the use case and user story are almost the same. And what
Mm-hmm.
is the major difference between these two? Because in a use case, you said we have actors, description, trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even actors is nothing but who, right?
Right.
So description is what we are describing, and
Right.
trigger, it's almost similar to why.
Mm-hmm.
So even that has almost the same questions.
Right. So understand, Sharda. Earlier, see, the user story has now evolved, and we have been talking about user story when we are breaking down the, requirement. But before user story, it used to be only use cases. Okay. So in use cases, we used to describe everything. Okay. However, there is fine difference between use case and user story. Use case will talk about the entire details. It may not talk about, for every single actors. It talks as a whole. It talks a functionality. Okay, how the to differentiate between use case is a functionality dependent. However, user story is much more granular part, where means one use case can have multiple user story, but user story can be created out of use cases, because user story is the most granular part. Okay, the thinnest part, you can say. And now uh, now because you are creating user story, sometime user don't even create the use case diagram. So in most of the project, you will also not find that separately, dedicatedly you need to create a use case diagram, because now you have moved towards the user story creation, where a requirement has been further broken down even in the thinnest space. Okay, so there is a difference, but again, there is not a large difference. There is a thinnest different, finest different. User story could be always should be one liner or not more than a paragraph. Okay, and it will specifically dedicated towards who, what, and why. However, use case diagram must have these all details, what was there, like this. Okay, the details, assumption is also there. But say for example, for some assumption you want to club it with the user story, there will be a new user story. Okay, but spatial requirement, so there are, say for example, 10 sets of spatial requirement, and you have mentioned in the use case document. But for user story, every single set, every single spatial requirement go with every single user story, singly, one by one. So it cannot be clubbed in one single user story. Okay, thereby this every user stories can be derived from one large use case. Is it clear now, Sharda? More
Can we
question on that.
say it's like user story is a subset of use case?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So user story is the thinnest part, and is one tiny part of use case, one tiny part of use case, of course. So
And
user story
one
has come out of use case. Yes, go ahead.
one more question. Like you said, use cases were used earlier. Earlier means it's like, is it used in waterfall methodology or is it like
Yeah.
that? And
Yeah, it mostly it was used in waterfall model. And since when this user story focused projects has been started, use case are not getting more weightage. But still, to understand, you should be knowing use cases are there, they exist. Even if these things are outdated, few companies ask you, hey, can you create some use cases for this requirement? Okay, so that is not where you can just say, hey, these were the outdated, I cannot. Why don't you are asking, why are you not asking for creating the user story or something like that? No, for understanding purpose, use cases should be crystal clear. And that's why dedicated documents are there. You can still create a use case document. See, the ultimate goal is that communication should be clear, understanding should be clear, so that executable action is much more clear, and so that we can achieve a goal. Okay, together as a stakeholder, as a designer, coder, as a project person, as a vendor, and as a client. Okay, and that's why the contribution of use cases directly uh, and
then
accordingly.
are there any specific projects or specific type of works in which only use cases are to be used? Is there any such situation?
No, not means we are just flexible. So see, as I said last time, we were talking about the agile, and few companies are much more agile based. And what exactly happens, few companies are also, they are just following agile, but ultimate goal is the fastest delivery. quickest delivery and continuous delivery, and that time they go in hybrid mode. They also they use agile. They also use scrum framework. Sometimes they also use kanban framework. So they mix and match, and the ultimate goal they try to achieve towards the fastest delivery. And that's the reason sometimes you may see that why these people are not coming together for daily scrum, why they have not been practicing retrospective. So because they are so much flexible, as per need they are taking the decision. Okay, on the go they are just molding themselves towards the delivery. Okay, but still there are few companies who are hardcore agile follower, and they are practicing everything as an agile. But again, you should be able to sense once you get place which is following what. Okay, this comes accordingly. And yeah, there is no hard and fast rule where any project will ask you, hey, you create use case or you don't create use case. You help me to understand how can I go to the next step. For that, if you need to create use case, create that. If you don't think that use case is
Uh,
necessary, skip that
yes.
and move to user story.
Yeah, Gaurav, can I add something here,
Yeah,
please?
go ahead
Yeah.
please.
So to answer your question, to be very honest, in real scenario, if you ask me, as per my experience, user stories are widely used because user stories are ultimately the requirements which are to be worked upon, whereas use cases are dependent on project to project and client to client basis. So that is as per my experience. So to answer your question in a one liner, user stories are kind of like a must because especially if you're in agile, because this is how you get your requirements. And use cases depends on project to project. If they are if it is complicated, if they have a proper flow, and if they want to include, so it can be a good to have or should have. But user stories is normally a must have kind of concept, or the element. Okay,
Do
are we
we
good on this?
do use cases in agile methodology?
That's what I'm saying, it
In
depends project
agile,
to
when
project.
you were explaining only about user stories and stuff, but not about use case, right?
No,
So
no.
that's the reason I.
Use cases Gaurav had explained. I explained user stories. So what I'm trying to tell you, there is no hard and fast rule. See, it depends. If some requirements are very simple, easy to understand, there can be simple user stories. That's like simple, requirements. If there is some, for example, process flow involved, some system changes there. For example, if you're working in some manufacturing industry and their functionality is being changed and stuff like that, then definitely they will have user case to know how the flow is working, from where the product should come, which all process it should go. So it's for a better understanding of a complex flow, and this is just a generic explanation. Again, I'm emphasizing, if your company has this certain policy that they do have use cases, they do have user stories, they do have all the elements, then it is fine. Many a cases, if the projects are easy, or if it is not mandatory, it can be I would say sideline, but it depends. So it's
Yeah.
good to know both, but user stories simply means these are your requirements. That means it is you must have and you would have that in a project,
So
right?
yeah, so as an agile practitioner, Shada, I won't ask you to create use case, okay? But definitely I'll ask you to create user story. But merrier the better. So if client would say, hey, to support you in detail to execute this project, we have our business team created some document which I would like to share with you, and then you can refine them, and based on our latest discussion, you can send us back for the signing off. And in that case, if customer has given you some use cases, okay, and you are going through and you are just enhancing them, as I said, merrier the better. If you have time and you can go through those user story and you can come up with the latest version, new version, and you share them back. And again, the point, will you are you going to wait for customer to sign off and come back? No, you should not be. You should be having your ready user story. You should be continuing with that. But in case customer comes back, he's a gentle person, come back, and he says that, okay, fine, now I have signed off your use case. Now, because again you have time, so what you have done, so against the use cases, you are comparing whether you have covered all the user story into the system or not. Again, if time permits, you can create as many document as possible. Sometime what may happen that you are into sprint planning meeting, product owner is explaining some user story, or you are you are as a business analyst, you are discussing or doing some demo work, or KT work, or you are just explaining some functionality, you are explaining one user story. And what happens, the customer has not customer, your candidate has more question, developer has more question, or tester has more question, or other involved person has more question. Now, because before creating user story, you had also created a use case document, what you can say, hey, go to the project repository or document repository, there you will find the use case, why don't you read that as well? Or say for example, you utilize time in a very good manner, so that you have even the use case which had not been mandatory and which was not expected to be over there, and you ask your people before arranging the user story explaining session, what you said, before coming to the discussion of the user story, kindly go through the related use case and then come back. Say for example, use case is not there, then FSD is there, which has been again received by client, and you yourself have not created, but you have refined it and sent it to for signing off, which has not come back yet. Okay, that is possibility. Are you going to wait for user story to create? No. So it has been created already. So what you are going to do before the explaining, you can tell to your participant who are going to get involved into this discussion, hey, before coming, why don't you come prepared by reading that document. So this is how it is. This is how the life of use case document has become. So again, depending upon the availability of time, you can create or you can have this use case document based on how fast your organization or project want to deliver the project. Okay, but yeah, format you
From
must remember user story. Yes.
from your explanation, like in a single word, like what I understood is use cases are mostly were used in waterfall methodology, but now in agile we are mostly using only user stories. That's what, right?
No, so use case is
Oh,
still used by some organization, but
even
again,
in
that
agile.
even in agile, okay,
Yeah,
but
thank you.
this is not mandate that iske bina kaam hi nahi chalega, something like that. So this is how it is. So
Yeah,
it is
got it. Thank you.
optional. Yeah, you're welcome. Ruby had some question.
Yeah, so just help me, like, just like, basically like a yes or no answer. So my understanding is that, when initially, some kind of requirement enters like the product backlog and it's like way down in the priority list. So maybe this use case is like the thickest part, and then as it keeps moving up in the product backlog, closer to, picking it up for the sprint backlog, it becomes like thinner and thinner and thinner, finally into, the thinnest user story. Is it something like that? So when when the requirement enters, it has a lot of, other details. That's why it's like thick. And then, as it comes closer to delivery, they keep breaking it or, slicing it into finer, user stories, like from a use case.
No, not exactly, but yes, as in how, not towards the end it has to be thinnest as user story, but just before that, see, the thing is that you need to look at something as a whole, and you also need to look at smallest tiniest part of it. Okay, so when you are standing, when the project is not in your hand yet, you will have the complete picture of the project. When, say for example, I'm just going out of the track right now, just to explain you. Once you are at the platform, you can always see the small compartment of the train, but you cannot watch the whole train. Okay, for watching whole train, you should come at the distant level. Okay, so at the distant level, you can see, okay, how long this train look like, how as a whole it looks like. But to get into the details of it, you need to get closer. So use case is the whole picture of, say, for example, 5 user story. As Sharda was telling, that can we say that user story is the subset of use case? The answer is yes. So this is how, again, use case is not mandate. So always keep keep it away from your mind. If you are considering, okay, fine, we'll have to create use case always. No, not always. But whenever use case will come, it will comprise of set of some user story. So am I clear now for you, Ruby?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for understanding. Okay, so now, so apart from user story, when it is coming to BRD, and when it says, BRD explained earlier, but quickly understand what will your business requirement document will consist of. So if I am speaking, you can take a note of it. So generally, it will also include vision, objective, and context. So these all will become the part of project overview. So project overview will be the first element, okay, of any BRD. The success factor, when it can be the successful. And again, third point will be the scope. Project scope has to be defined in the BRD document. When you are talking about scope, always the sub element will be what is going to be included, what is going to be excluded, and what you are assuming that will be considered, or what will not be considered. So that will be the part of project scope. Okay, then comes stakeholder identification. You know who all as a stakeholder will be involved, and then you explain going further the exact business requirement. Okay, so business requirement will be the problem. What kind of the problem has to be solved in future using this project? And you will also, as a next element, you will be mentioning solution. Okay. So did I said that stakeholder identification? Let me repeat whatever I might have shared. I might have shared till now project overview that includes vision, objective, and context. Success story, in what all scenario it can be the success. Project scope, it must have scope has the inclusion, exclusion as assumption. Then stakeholder identification, who all the stakeholders will be involved. Then requirement, what the problem you are going to solve, and the scope of the solution. So what all the solution you are going to give, that also you are going to scope it up. Okay, and then any limitation if there, just like in project vision document you are mentioning the limitation, no, sorry, requirement management plan document, here also you are going to mention the limitation or constraint, such as it could be related to schedule or budget or something like that, and quality control measures, that what all the documents it would be. So those would be the BRD document. Those will be the part of BRD. Okay, so is it clear, user story and BRD? If you have taken the notes of BRD, this is how we are going to create a BRD document. Okay, then comes to requirement traceability matrix. Understand, it may always come to you for review purpose. So every requirement traceability matrix will have a requirement ID, and that requirement ID should be the part of a business requirement document where you will be mentioning the requirements. Okay, so remember that. And in that requirement, when you are mentioning that in BRD, always have the requirement identification number, then its description will have, and the functional requirement, the RTM will have the current status of it. Then its design document reference will be there, where it is where the design can be seen. Then the technicality, in which technical document it has been specified, the software module test case number, and tested in which environment, that will be mentioned in this requirement traceability matrix. Why you need to see this? Why it will come for you to approve? You can match with the requirement. The same requirement explained over here are the part of the requirement document or not, that you are going to explain. Okay, so if it is known, then you can detail it out. All right, so this has been the part of RTM, a requirement traceability matrix. Any question till here for BRD, user story for we have taken, and in RTM as well? Okay, so leave that. Yeah, so let's move to next. All right, I think, yeah. Yes, the another part
Gaurav,
is,
did you take my name? I was kind
no,
of
no, no, no,
confused.
no, no, no,
Okay.
I did not. But yeah, just I was going to. So if you want, you can take this slide. Do you want to, or you want me to continue?
Yes. So, as the name suggests, functional requirement specification, that is FRS, or functional specification document. Okay. So these documents, as the name suggests, they tell you details about the functionality. That means, one second. Yeah, sorry. When I say they tell you details means, as a BA, when you prepare these documents, the expectation is that you should be able to explain in the document the details given by customer in such a way that your development team, your stakeholder, and also your customer should be able to understand that. And whatever we learned till now, like for example, user stories or use cases, basically not user story, but use cases, approval matrix. Approval matrix assessment or approval matrix means whenever any document is prepared. For example, if imagine you are a junior BA, okay, when you start, you are a junior BA, then whenever you create any documentation, that can be reviewed, that will be reviewed by your senior BA or your team lead. Okay, post his review, this will go to your scrum master or and product owner. If we are in agile, if we are in typical setup, it will go to your after team lead, it will go to your project manager. And after project manager, the project sponsor means the person who is financially involved or who is actually investing in this project. That is mainly your in a delivery head, or in a bigger organization, or in a smaller organization, it can be your CEO as well. Okay, so this approval matrix ensures that whatever things have been mentioned in the document, they have been reviewed and confirmed by all these authorities, all these senior people as well, and they are good to go. They are good to be shared with the customer, that okay, these are the requirements. These are this document is good to share with the development team, that okay, let's start working on that. So this is basically some of the important elements. So I'll just request maybe I do not know, each one of you to read one line. Ruby has her she has raised her hand, so I think she can start with one line. Then after that, maybe Prajakta, Aparmita, they can just read one line. There are barely 2-3 lines. Okay, can you go ahead, please?
Yeah, sure. In a BRD, the requirements are high level, but in an FRS or FST, they are written in many more details to
Capture each and every aspect of a requirement. Thus, a functional specification document becomes a
more technical, accurate, and descriptive requirement document, owing to their technical nature. Should I continue?
FRS, FSD are equally used by developers, testers, and the business stakeholders of a project.
Okay, so we have already covered the last line wherein we say FRS or FSD, those are used by developers, testers, your customers, your senior management, and your business stakeholders. Business stakeholders with everybody, anybody and everybody who has stake in your project, who has interest in your project. So we are done with this line. Okay, what it says is in a BRD, the requirement are high level. Okay, so business requirement document is okay. If I have to talk, then it is more like a document which gives you an idea about the project, that what it will do from a very high level. For example, there are some announcement that we have our upcoming program and an upcoming this, and there's some event. When we get some invite for something, just or book your date. When someone sends you an invite saying book your date or book your calendar. So it's a very simple example for your understanding. Okay, try to get that. So that is your BRD. But when someone gives you a detailed invitation of the venue, of the timing, of the functions, of the hierarchy, or their events, how they would manage, that is your FSD. So BRD is like more inclusive document where you have lot of things mentioned. But FSD, see, even the name suggests business requirement document. That simply means what kind of business or what kind of applications you want to work on or what you want to develop. And where is functional specification document or functional specification requirement means what kind of functionality will be there, in that document. So for example, your BRD can be, okay, I'm studying in commerce or in science or in this particular, or I'm studying for MBBS. I'm just giving a very plain layman example just for your understanding. This is your BRD. Okay, I'm studying MBBS. That is going to be in India, it's going to be like around 8 years of course and dedicated this and that's into medicine. And your FSD would be each year's in detailed, curriculum or syllabus, and how to go about it. So are you able to understand the difference between both?
Yes.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So once you get that, you see, many a times what happens, I'm highlighting, there is nothing as is like something engraved on a stone that it has to be in this way. No, I have worked in companies wherein they were very in detail and process oriented, where I've created risk registered and project charter, and many documents along with BAs who were working on FSD and BRD. In some of the organizations, only BRD is fine because for them all the functionality or all the requirements comes in user story format. Okay, though it is recommended, it is highly recommended to have FSDs, but then in many organizations, BRDs and FSDs are kind of used interchangeably depending on the complexity. If your applications are very easy to understand, there is no technicality, no complex flows, then a BRD is sufficient. But then I'm again highlighting, it is recommended, it's good to have an FSD wherein you have detailed information about the functionality part. Okay. So yes, functional specification document it gives you a more accurate, technical, and descriptive document, whereas BRD is more a high level 360 degree view document. But these BRD, I'll say is 99.99. Just in exceptional cases it won't be there, but it is always there, no matter. FSD is as per scenario based, application based, company based, or even time basis. If they do have time, or if they don't, they'll just give you user stories and they'll expect a development team to start working on it. Right? So are we good on their understanding and differences? Any doubts till now?
No.
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 Great. I know it is easy, but I'm giving you sufficient time to digest, because if tomorrow someone asks you the doubts, I really want you to be confident and answer them well. That okay, this is this as per, and you always have this conditions apply asterisk. Okay, as per the company, as per their requirement and stuff like that. It can be yes or no many a times. Okay, coming to the next point. Yeah, can other people who did not read in the earlier slide can start reading, please? I did not know who all read. I was on the slide stage. Please, I want everyone to be active and interactive.
In a BRD, the requirements are high level, but in FSD, they are written in many more details to capture each and every aspect of a requirement.
Yes, we just discussed that in FSD all the details are mentioned, how to go about it. In BRD is very high level, things have been mentioned. Okay, next point,
Prerna,
please.
sorry to interrupt. So all pointers have been read. Okay, so all pointers have been read. Only what you see now here, the format has been quickly changed. Okay.
Okay, okay, fine. The
Yeah.
same pointers, only in the
Yes.
format of
Bullets.
points. Okay,
Yeah.
bullet
Yeah.
points. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
No worries. Yeah, we
So
can go to next
become,
slide then. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Who was reading? The next person can start reading, please.
System requirement specification versus system requirement document. A
Okay.
detailed document containing information about how the complete system has to function and enumerates hardware, software, functional, and behavioral requirements of the system.
Okay, about how the complete system has to function and enumerates hardware, software, functional behavioral requirement of the system. And second,
This document elaborates on the requirements from the perspective of observational behavior only and doesn't consider technical or design bias.
okay. So, for your understanding or to actually give you the crisp of these lines, it means when we talk about system requirement specification or system requirement document, not business requirement document, okay, system requirement documents. System means any application, any product, any website that you're going to work on, what it gives you, or what kind of what this document should have or should contain for your understanding is that how that system will work. How means what kind of software they have, what kind of hardware you would require to use. Like, sometimes, like, if you all know, I know this is not a typical I mean, I don't want to sound from gender bias point of view, but many a times many guys are into gaming, right? Gaming laptop, gaming desktop. So, for gaming they have to have different resolution. To be very honest, I'm not aware of it, but they need good RAM, they need good graphic cards, they need to, everything has to look good. Or sometimes if people are into designing, they need to have some typical softwares on their designing or in their MacBook. So they would need some hardware specification, like, they would need this much hard disk, they would need this much RAM, for the speed, they would need some processor. So all these hardware specifications are again depending on the application. So yes, all these details, okay, you would need this kind of machine, this kind of server. This is all technical, guys. Okay, you need not know this in detail, but it's just, when it is going on, it's good to hear that, okay, in organizations these things also matter with respect to your project. So yes, system requirement specification, we mentioned what kind of softwares you need. Okay, you might need some Visual Studio, you might need some Microsoft products, you might need some, some certified licensed products. So all that is mentioned. So the developer team or the internal stakeholders know what is your expense, if you want to purchase some kind of softwares. And even the customer would know that in future, if they want to use it, they would need to have this kind of softwares. Okay. So this is one. And the document elaborates on the requirements from the perspective of observational behavior only, and it doesn't consider technical or design bias. That means though it has details of what kind of software and hardware you have, it does not give you in-depth technical knowledge, which is not required, right? It is saying it is system specification documents. It is not saying it is technical specification documents. So it will tell you how the application flows. Okay, you log into the system, then you see your home page, then you can see your mails, then you can see your inbox, your sent mails. Like, if you're considering a typical Gmail example or Outlook example. So all these things from system point of view and not from a technical architect or technical team point of view, right? So this is what happens when you prepare an SRD or when you have an SRD to be read or to be understood. It is all details about your system, application, or website, and in the given format, like in the hardware, software knowledge, or in the process, or in the functional and behavioral means how your system will work, how Once you log in, on which page it will go? Okay, it will go on my home, home page. What you can see your picture. You can visualize any application like Facebook or your Gmail account, or so things like that. You can see your picture, you can see your wall, you can see your albums, you can see your posts, you can see the videos you shared. So it's all about the process and how the functionality works, and not from the technical background, because we are studying the BA stream. Okay. Are we good? Gaurav, you want to add something here if you wish to?
No, I think Ruby and Sharda has some questions.
Yes,
So
please go ahead.
Actually,
Ruby,
what we have here in SRS is all mentioned in BRD, right? So when
Yes.
everything is mentioned in BRT, then why are we having a separate document again like SRS?
Okay. I think I answered this earlier. I'll again give you a detailed response. See, I told you many of the organization have only BRD as well. They are only working on BRD, but many of the organizations, so only BRD also suffice, but then it does not have the function. Okay, for example, a BRD would be like you want to create a Facebook account application. Okay, so I think you know what it has, and they can give you user stories. Okay, I should be able to log into system, I should be able to upload the system, I should be write on my friend's wall, I should send friends request. So these are all will be user stories, or one liner or some description, and you can work on it. Okay, is it fine? I think as a team we can work on it if we have given this much information.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Some organizations have this BRD, that okay, we want to create an application like Facebook, and then they'll give you SRS document, wherein they will have in detail flow of every action. Like for example, when I say like more or less what you're gonna have in your user stories, they'll have more in detail in your SRS, wherein okay, for login there should be a login page with login or new user, forgot user buttons or links, and then the validation will happen. And if the user is validated with their account user ID and password, they'll enter into the system. And this is the login flow. Okay, album create album flow. A user should be able to upload maximum this many pictures. They can name the pictures, they can edit the location, they can add the description, and they can do this. Now this is the album creation flow. You see the difference in both two. Earlier I just gave you BRD, and I gave you some detail in user story format. Still you could work with that. And now I'm giving you a BRD stating Facebook alike application, and again I'm giving you an SRS in detail with application with the functionality. So you have more details about functionality in SRS format. In earlier thing, you had details about functionality in user story format. More or less, it's similar, but it's just a difference of am I going to make that or create that document or not? Am I clear here, or any doubts further?
I got it.
Got
okay,
it?
can I add something over here?
Please, Gaurav, please.
So understand this. As initially we have spoken, BRD is high level, where about software also it is mentioned. So this SRS or SRD document is also sometimes referred as the software requirement document. So if I'll use this term, then business requirement document, BRD is more towards business. Okay, SRS or SRD document is also up towards the software requirement. So here in SRD, you take the liberty to specify and detail down all the requirement of this software. And understand this BRD document will be maintained by business analyst. However, for software requirement document or system requirement document, system analyst also pitch in between, who has the complete knowledge and he has the technical back as well. So this is one of the thing. And when you will talk about this BRD, which bridges the gap between the company and the feature, but SRS and SRD, it is something which also bridge the gap between the developer and the user. Okay, the end user I'm talking about. So this is how Ms. BRD you can always consider at high level, but this SRD or SRS document at the detail level. So does it bring more insight for you, Shada, when I'm talking about BRD and SRD?
Actually, this is more clear. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
most welcome. So Ruby, you have more question?
No, sir. I just
Okay.
like forgotten to lower.
Okay, super. So yeah, this is how it is. And then we can move to the next, right? And comes to test cases. So test case, for knowledge purpose, you must know that test case identification will be there, where test case ID, test scenario, prerequisite, test data, test steps, expected result, actual result, and the status of testing, and any comment or remarks, and in which environment the testing has been done. These details will be there and will be documented generally in Excel. And yeah, so for more documents like whatever you have tested, you need to attach the proofs and all. So those things you can use in the test management tool or in project management tool. So why you should be knowing as a business analyst? Because these things you might require to review sometime. Okay, and that's the reason you should be knowing. So after this, what exactly has come up, we have almost come to the end of today's session, but I want you to understand that again, going back to the same requirement which generally we follow, I assume, we are assuming by now you have understood the placement process of through Guru schools. Okay, how do you join Guru schools? How you understand, how you undergo the first pillar, that is uh, that is the instructor-led training program. Then you are prepared for interview. Then you face the vendor interview, then you face the client interview, and then you get placed, and then you start working, and then you get support up to 6 months, and then so on. All right, excuse me. Yeah, so if you have understood this, then what I want you to know now, how many people I see? 5, 7, 9. So let's come into three groups. So I want to ask to raise 3 people their hand. First 3 people. Let me see how many of you can raise. Okay, Disha 1, second Tejaswini, and yes, done. Prajakta, Tejaswini, and Disha. You will be team 1. Remember, okay? You will be team 1. So remember your name. So you will be team 1. Next people who can raise their hand. So who had raised the hand? Apamita. Okay. Who else? So who had raised already their hand, they can lower their hand now. And Sharda, Aparmita Sharda. Who else? Okay, Apamita Sharda, and one more person, please. Volunteer. Okay, Sneha. Apamita, Sharda, and Sneha, team 2. Okay, so come back, team 3. So you can lower your hand, Apamita, Sharda, and Sneha. Let's move to other 3 people who ever have not raised their hand. Come. Okay, so it's Ruby, Elizabeth, and Radha is team 3. So team 1, 2, 3, you have understood how you are going to do. You need to come together, collaborate together, and understand this application. That is candidate enrollment process till project support. At Guru schools, you are going to showcase this requirement on a website of Guru school. For that, you need to come up with the business requirement document. Now, how I want you to come up with the business requirement document? You come together on a call. You can have a quick call, 5 minutes call, 2 minutes call, 3 minutes call. You can form a group together. You can do a chit chat together. And next week, the end time is the next week. Okay, next week means next Sunday. before next Sunday, you are going to come with one document, business requirement document, and all the elements which I have shared will be there. And you will be telling me how your requirement documents will be looking. One can behave as a scrum master, one can behave as a developer, tester, or the key person. And in fact, everyone have to work in a rotation basis. One day one take the charge of scrum master, and two people are focusing on documentation. Second day another person is taking the charge. Third day another person is taking the charge. And you have 1 week, means 7 days. So you can repeat this as well, but together you have to come up with the one document that is the BRD of this particular process. And you have to submit that. You can upload it somewhere in Google Drive and you can share the link. Okay, so for that, how will you get? Download any template and start working onto that. Finalize between all three and start working onto that. Okay, the again, the requirement document will be for the candidate placement process till support. Is it clear now? Requirement is clear? BS?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ruby has any question? No, I'll take it as no. So if requirement is clear, because Ruby has raised her hand, and if she doesn't have question,
No.
okay, what you can do, Ruby, let's know that what do you feel like saying about today's session, because we are ending and you are clear with your requirement. Ruby, one word from your end, what do you feel like saying?
Very interesting today.
Interesting. And yes, thank you so much. You are clear about your requirement as well, and for your assignment too, right, Ruby? So take out one's name, one person's name. Ruby, call out one name.
Aparmita.
Aparmita. Yes, Aparmita, what do you feel like saying about today's session?
Very practical.
Very practical. Call out someone's name, Aparmita.
Disha.
Disha. Yes, Disha, what do you feel like saying?
Interesting.
Interesting. Disha, call out someone's name.
Sharda.
Sharda. Sharda, what do you feel like saying?
It's very interesting.
Interesting. Call out someone's name on the screen, please.
Prajakta.
Prajakta. Prajakta, what do you feel like saying?
It's more clear and interesting now.
Clear and interesting. Call out someone's name, please.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Elizabeth, what do you feel like saying?
Interesting.
Interesting. Call out someone's name on the screen, you see.
Sneha.
Sneha. Yes, Sneha, what do you feel like saying?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Looking forward for the BRDs.
Okay, looking forward for the BRD. Follow
That,
someone's
that
name,
was
please.
a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sneha, follow someone's name, please.
Yeah. Who's left, guys? Radha.
Radha. Radha, what do you feel like saying?
A detailed explanation of BRDs.
Yes, detailed explanation. Call out someone's name, please.
Prerna.
No.
Tejashwini, I'm sorry, Tejashwini.
Yeah. So yes,
thanks,
Tejaswini, what
Radha.
do you feel like saying?
Getting into the more practical side. So yeah,
More practical
interesting
side.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. Call out one name, please.
Prerna.
Prerna. Yes, Prerna, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, girls, for all your interesting responses. And yes, we are looking forward to the BRD preparation. And to be very honest, more than just a BRD preparation, this is a task wherein your teamwork, your collaboration, your communication, everything would be kind of involved, and everything would actually go over a next level wherein you will talk to each other. So I'll recommend you to be quite professional in your approach, that you can have specific meetings, not Zoom, but WhatsApp calls. You can go ahead and create your own WhatsApp groups for temporary purposes, have discussions, talk to each other, and come up with these documents. And for today have been a fantabulous session. Everybody's involvement, doubts, questions, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yes, thank you so much. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, I too thoroughly enjoyed it, and understand this thing that this is the experience you are going to undergo. It could be some hesitation, It could be what all the things you will be experiencing the moment you get a project, what happens when things are unclear, and there is a journey from confusion to clarity. That's what you are going to achieve through this project. So this is a tiniest project on which you are working for a week. Okay, that is the creation of BRD document. I am looking forward and really pumped up to see the what you bring on the table. So thank you so much. I wish you all the very best for this task, and don't forget to post your summary video. So that is another crucial, because we are heading towards the end, and another sessions are very important. Don't miss them. That is about all the life cycle of the various domains we are unveiling soon. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best once again, and good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Bye bye. Take care. Good night.